Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Got a lot to get into today. I want to talk about some coaching news and rumors. Tennessee's got 3 coaches who have expiring contracts coming up on January the 31st. So I want to get into that. But first, I want to talk about this. Yesterday, made a transfer portal video talking about Emmanuel Pregnon, 6'5", 320-pound offensive guard from USC. This is a dude that is a freak. He's got strength. He's got athleticism. I think he is a priority for Tennessee. Would be huge to add on the interior of this offensive line. Spent a couple of seasons at Wyoming, then transferred to USC, started 25 games over 2 seasons. This is from last year. Pregnon played in all 13 of the Trojans games. He finished with USC's highest PFF overall grade on offense, and as a pass blocker for his efforts, he was named 2024 All Big Ten second team selection. You want more information on him, go check out the video from yesterday. Broke all that down, but wanted to do a quick update because he is scheduled to visit Tennessee within the next day or 2. So we will continue to keep you guys up to date on that, but just wanted to provide an update on the video that I made yesterday. Big target in the transfer portal for Tennessee. Now we're going to jump in. We're going to talk some coaching news. You guys know the deal. Do the YouTube stuff. Let's be quick about it. Smash the thumbs up, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. If you like what we do, you want to make sure we keep moving forward. Think about hitting that join button. It's $1. It's $1 per month. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, a power T beside your name in the chat, but you keep the lights on around here and allow us to bring you the breaking news as soon as we can here on the Talkin VAWLS Network, which is for the fans, by the fans. Let's talk about some coaching rumors again. Josh Heupel's coaching staff has 3 coaches whose contracts will expire on January the 31st. That's Tim Banks, Mike Eckler, and also Willie Martinez. Now, when you look at Willie Martinez, I think he's a guy that's going to make a decision. Does he retire and ride off into the sunset, or does he come back to Tennessee? I don't think there's really any news or rumors regarding Willie Martinez. I think he'll be back if he wants to be back. But let's talk about a coach who seems to be on the hot seat lately. That is Kelsey Pope. You can see an article there from Big Orange Podcast. That's Zach Reagan, Charlie Burris over at A to Z Sports. The article comments from Vols wide receiver signee should ease concerns about Tennessee wide receivers coach Kelsey Pope. Now, we'll see if this eases your concerns or not. Let's first talk about why is Kelsey Pope on the hot seat. You look at the wide receiver room going into 2025. Yeah, it got a little bit better yesterday with the commitment of Amari Jefferson. Again, made a video on him yesterday. If you missed it, go back, give it a watch. But you look at the guys that left, the depth pieces, Squirrel White, Caleb Webb, Chaz Nimrod, Nathan Laycock, Nate Spillman. It's a lack of development and a lack of production. Squirrel White transfers to Florida State. You know, he had a great year, solid year in 2023. Didn't happen in 2024. He was beat up, banged up. Caleb Webb never developed. Nathan Laycock never developed. Nate Spillman is what it is. Chaz Nimrod is a guy that, you know, I saw on VolQuest. I think it was Brent Hubbs, maybe Austin Price said Chaz Nimrod is a guy that this coaching staff wanted back in 2025. So take that for what it's worth. But again, a lack of production, a lack of development from Kelsey Pope and his wide receiver room. You know, you got Mike Matthews coming back. You got Chris Brazzell. You got Braylon Staley. You added Amari Jefferson in the portal. Boo Carter going to flip over, take some snaps on offense. So I'm excited about the starters. I'm excited to see Mike Matthews get an opportunity. Braylon Staley get an opportunity. Chris Brazzell maybe take a step. What can Amari Jefferson do? But what is the answer when you look at depth in that wide receiver room? Is it about playing the younger guys? It certainly seems to be the plan to me. I think Tennessee still wants to take 1 or 2 wide receivers in the transfer portal, but can a guy like Travis Smith, number 75 overall player in the country, sound familiar? That's what Nathan Laycock was also ranked. Didn't develop, never translated to on-field play. Is Travis Smith ready as a true freshman? Here's the quote that Zach Reagan's talking about here from Travis Smith. He was on a YouTube show, says it really was the coaches. Why did he choose Tennessee? It was the coaches. Coach Pope, he had a great recruiting regime. just contacting me on a daily basis. I'm not talking once a week or twice a week. It was really on a daily basis, just checking in on me, seeing how I was doing, giving me tips on how to become a better person, not only just on the field, but off the field, mentally. He really tapped in with me. Once I saw that, then talked with the others around him. He never changes. And that's the same thing about all their coaching staff. They don't change. Coach Pope is a cool dude. I love Coach Pope. He's real cool. So I'm excited to get with him and work with him. The article from A to Z Sports goes on to say that doesn't sound like the type of coach the ball fans should want to move on from. Tennessee's loss to Ohio State in the first round of the college football playoff showed how important it is to sign elite wide receiver talent out of high school. Pope has done a great job of that over the last couple of recruiting cycles. Matthews was ranked number 6 wide receiver, Staley 15. Smith was the number 12 wide receiver in the 25 class. It would be silly to dismiss an assistant coach like Pope, who is currently recruiting at a high level. Now, I agree with Zach on that. I think Kelsey Pope is doing a great job recruiting, but if you don't develop it and you don't put it on the football field, then recruiting means absolutely nothing. Look at Caleb Webb. He was a blue chip prospect. Look at Nathan Laycock. Same ranking as Travis Smith. Didn't develop. So it's not about recruiting for me with Coach Pope, and that's why all eyes are on him. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Kelsey Pope will be back for the 2025 season, but I think all eyes are going to be on him. I want to see some development in 2025 from that wide receiver room. Let's go talk about a hot topic. That is Tim Banks, because it fires y'all up. Polarizing. You either all in or you're all out. You want Tim Banks back, you want him gone. The same people that said, man, our offense sucks, we're living on this Tim Banks defense, and Dylan Sampson are now saying, fire Tim Banks. He couldn't get it done against Ohio State. Fire Tim Banks. He couldn't get it done against Georgia. How quickly we forget that Tim Banks and this defense carried us the entire season to a 10-2 regular season. Is that good enough? No, we want to take the next step. We want to win national championships. I don't remember anybody preseason talking about this being a national championship team, but all of a sudden here we sit in January, 10-2, get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. All of a sudden, well, we should have won a national championship. Obviously, that's the goal, but I don't think anybody really expected that in 2024. Broyles Award finalist, recognized the best assistant coach in college football. Tim Banks right in the mix for that. Look, I can sit here and rattle off numbers, and you guys can argue with me. You can disagree with me. Tim Banks' defense has gotten better year in and year out. When he first came in, 90th in scoring defense, 2022, 36, 2023, 23rd. This past season, 4th in the country in scoring defense. Boogie, you must be too young. You don't remember. You don't remember the glory days. I thought this was an interesting graphic that somebody posted over on VolQuest. Tennessee football points allowed per game from 1990 to 2024. I'll let you guys soak in that graph because it speaks for itself. You want to talk about the defenses of old? Well, you got to go all the way back to a national championship in 1998, and Tim Banks produced similar numbers here in 2024. Oh, my schedule, Boogie, the schedule, it's so easy. So are you saying that Tennessee hasn't played anybody in the last 30 years? Because you got to go back to 1998, and Tim Banks is putting up eerily similar numbers. So if you don't realize what Tim Banks has done, and yes, it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to say he needs to be more aggressive against the Ohio States and against the Georgias. I'm here for that conversation. I agree with you the same way that I agree that Joey Halsley has to be more creative on offense. There's a difference between saying, man, I wish they would do this or that, and saying, well, let's fire our defensive coordinator that produced a top 5 defense and the best numbers statistically, points per game since 1998. Well, what's the latest on Tim Banks? Because we got a lot of rumors out there floating around on Tim Banks. New Year's Eve, he was rumored to be in the mix for the Miami job. Pete Nako says sources tell On 3 that Banks could listen to Miami. In 3 previous seasons, the Vols led the SEC in tackles per loss per game and 3rd in turnovers gained per game. Well, that kind of went away. The Miami rumors kind of went away, and then it became about Clemson. A lot of talk about Tim Banks and Clemson. Would he listen? Pete Nakos put out another update, said one of the best, hottest defensive coordinators in the nation, easy for me to say, Tim Banks, directed a Tennessee defense in 2024 that ranked in the top 10 nationally in total defense. Volunteers allowed 293 yards and 16 points per game. Tennessee struggled against Ohio State in the college football playoff. Banks' defense shut down the SEC for most of the season. Sources tell On 3 that Banks could listen to Miami and Mario Cristobal. That disappeared. All the talk became about Clemson. Brent Hubb said Tim Banks probably going to listen. You can see here Scott Hamilton puts out a tweet, says sources, Tennessee's Tim Banks out as a candidate for the Clemson defensive coordinator job. Notre Dame's Al Golden now the front runner. Scott Hamilton is the writer for the Post and Courier in South Carolina. There was also an update from the Clemson Insider that said, according to our sources, Clemson has had contact with Tennessee defensive coordinator Tim Banks' camp. As of now, according to the information we have, Banks will not be the guy at Clemson. Brent Hubbs said Monday night, I think the agent is in play here. I think he also wasn't given an extension last season. That probably gave him some pause or created some doubt for him. Throughout the course of this Tim Banks deal, I've kind of talked about how it seemed like an agent move, a money grab, like you didn't extend my contract. My contract expires on January the 31st. I'm going to throw my name out in the hat for Miami, for Clemson, any other defensive coordinator position that comes open, so that I can utilize that in leverage. Now, saying that the deal is done, it's off the table, no Clemson, makes me wonder if Tim Banks has signed that extension with Tennessee. One last bit of coaching news I want to talk about. This came out on Twitter. Skurs News. Sip. Who is Sip? Who are we talking about here, Boogie? Who in the world is Sip? That's Steven Sipple. He writes for the Nebraska On 3 site. So Skurs News puts out a tweet. Sip said on his show today that he knows Mike Eckler is very interested in the open special teams coordinator job. This is at Nebraska. He believes he would take it if offered. Coach Matt Rule, go and get him. Now, Eckler was born and raised in Nebraska, also coached linebackers at Nebraska from 2008 to 2010. His parents live about an hour away from the stadium. But again, Steven Sipple, this is the quote from him that Skurs News is referring to. Mike Eckler, and I don't think Mike would mind me saying he's interested. He would do it. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to get hired. That doesn't mean Coach Matt Rule wants to hire him. So Brent Hubbs was asked about this. He said, I could totally see Mike Eckler making that move if he could get that job. Again, Eckler, another one whose contract expires on January the 31st. So is it a deal of Mike Eckler looking to make a move, get back closer to home? Or does Mike Eckler know that his contract isn't going to be renewed? Interesting. We're talking about. Now, as far as Coach Eck on the field, love Coach Eckler. Coaches outside linebackers, coaches special teams. But when you look at it, ultimately Coach Garner is responsible for the edge rushers. On the flip side of that, Coach Eckler has made a pretty big impact in recruiting, but you know who else has made a big impact in recruiting? That's Coach Chop. Everybody that plays that edge position talks about Coach Chop and what he has done for them on the recruiting trail. So is it time to see Coach Chop get that promotion? Who takes over special teams? Because I think for the most part, under Mike Eckler, special teams have been pretty good. Yeah, you gave up the kickoff return to Vanderbilt this season, but we've probably seen more block punts in the last 4 years under Eckler than we've seen at Tennessee in a long time. We've seen some electric plays in the return game. We got to see Boo Carter, who can make some plays. He's got to learn to field punts, not let the ball hit the floor. But I think Eckler's done a good job coaching special teams. But again, I wanted to bring up that tweet. It was worth talking about because of his contract expiring on January the 31st. That's a lot of news, a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation here on this Wednesday morning. What are your thoughts? Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. We're going to try to do a live stream tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time with Coach Jay. He's got a lot going on in California. The wildfire's right on top of his house. So send up some prayers for Coach Jay. We'll let you guys know one way or the other. We may go live and do a fan call-in show if Coach Jay is not available. But that is going to do it for this one. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Go check out the Talkin VAWLS merch and go check out being a member of this channel. The links are all in the description below. But that is going to do it. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.